Jack Latender. I'm author of the book, The Amazing Dog Training Man. It's a real book. And this is my friend Charlie. I'll put that aside. This is my friend Charlie. And of course you know Martini. And today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about jumping. Jumping is a huge problem for a lot of dog owners. I would say about roughly 80% of the dog owners out there have a jumping problem with their dog. And if there's one behavior problem that I get into trouble with other dog trainers, it's when it comes to jumping. Because I deal with jumping a certain way because I need results fast. So a lot of dog trainers will say if the dog has a jumping problem, the best thing to do is to ignore the behavior, which is good advice. It's very good advice. So you walk in the house, the dog starts jumping on you, you should just stand there and ignore the dog. Become what they say, a tree stump. Okay? Don't give the dog any attention. And when you do this, if you're going to take this route, which is a very good thing to do, you have to make sure you don't give any form of attention. There's 3 ways to give your dog attention. You can touch them, you can talk to them, or you can look at them. Even looking at your dog is giving your dog attention. So you don't want to give any form of attention. You want to stand there, become a tree stump, and just do not give any attention. Just stand there. Dog's jumping all over. As soon as your dog stops jumping, that's when you would turn on the attention. Oh, what a good dog for not jumping. Dog starts to jump, you become a tree stump again. Okay? Dog stops jumping, you turn on the attention. Okay? So that is a good way to teach your dog to not jump. But here's the problem. That requires a lot of patience, and it also doesn't account for the way your friends and family will sabotage your training. Don't jump, Charlie. Don't jump, not yet. Okay, your friends and family, that's it, will sabotage your training. And I write about this in a lot of my articles in my book. I call it the Uncle Freddie factor. This is where Uncle Freddie or one of your friends comes over and you've been working on teaching your dog to not jump, and they walk in the door and they go, "Hey buddy, come here Bubba, come on," and they start patting her chest. They get your dog all worked up, the dog jumps, they start praising, they start wrestling, they got your dog in a headlock, they're having a great time, and all the training that you've just done, all the tree stump, methods and techniques that you've been working on, every time you come in the door and turn yourself into a tree stump, all that training just went out the window. Your Uncle Freddie has just blown all your training. So what I do, and I'm going to show you this in a few minutes, what I do, and I want to make this very clear because so many dog trainers get upset with me when I teach this technique. But this technique is very effective. It'll stop your dog from jumping, and you have to understand that I'm not doing this to hurt or harm the dog. I'm doing this to teach the dog that jumping is unacceptable, and I'm not inflicting any pain on the dog. I'm not inflicting pain. You have to, please do not write me and say this is a terrible, awful, evil method that I'm teaching here, because I'm a nice guy. I don't like harming dogs, but sometimes we need results fast. One of the reasons I started using this technique is because a client came to me a few years ago, and the client had his elderly mother move into the house. She was 80-something years old, very frail, and he was really nervous about the dog jumping up and harming his mother. He says, I have to get this jumping under control fast, or there's a good chance I'm going to have to get rid of my dog. He was petrified that his dog, he had a big 90-pound, I think it was a golden lab mix, he was petrified this dog was going to jump up, knock his mother over, and bust a hip. So I said, no problem, my friend. We can stop your dog's jumping problem in about 10 minutes. This is how we're going to do it. I had him bring his dog over. I invited the dog up. I said, come on, buddy. I invited the dog up. When the dog put his paws on me, this is what I did. I took his paws. Now, this is the key point. I didn't crush the paws. I didn't whip the dog around. I just simply firmly held on to the dog's paws. I want you to remember that, because I have a video on YouTube where I explain this technique, and I get beat up all the time for this. All you're doing is you take the dog's paws and you hold on to them. You don't hold them and let go. You don't hold them and crush the dog's paws. You don't grab them and start whipping the dog around. You simply take the dog's paws and hold on firmly. Rachel, come here for a second. Come here. Let's say, yeah, you're doing good. Come on, girl. Let's say this is a paw. You see this? All I would do is I would just firmly grab the paw and hold on. I wouldn't crush the paw. I wouldn't yank or anything like that. I would just firmly hold on to her paw. Thanks. You can go back to the camera. So when the dog jumps on me, I grab both the paws. I hang on firmly, and I do this until the dog starts to struggle. You have to hold on to the dog's paws until the dog starts to struggle. Once they start to struggle, then you say, off, and you let go of the paws. Now here's the tricky part. Here's where it gets really interesting, because everybody thinks I'm being mean to the dogs when I do this second part. At that point, as soon as the dog's paws are on the ground, I invite him back up. I say, come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Okay? And I invite the dog to jump back on me, and I repeat the process. I grab the paws again, and I hold on firmly. After a few seconds, I let go, and I say, off. And then I do it again. Come on, buddy. And everybody says, oh my God, this amazing dog training man guy is such a mean SOB. I can't believe he just grabbed the dog's paws and then he invited back up. Okay? What I want the dog to learn is that when somebody comes over your house and goes, come on, buddy, what's your dog going to do? Your dog's going to go, oh no, I'm not falling for this. This guy's going to grab my paws as soon as I jump up. So this actually becomes a signal to not jump. Your dog will see you doing this and go, whoa, I'm not going to jump on this guy. This guy knows the secret. He knows the trick. He's going to grab my paws as soon as I jump up on him. Okay? So that's all there is to jumping, and I'll demonstrate with one of these guys in just a second, but I want you to understand that it's not being harmful or cruel or anything like that, and dogs can hurt people when they jump, and it can really scare the heck out of some people. Jumping needs to be dealt with, and you also have to understand is that the reason your dog jumps is usually because you've taught them to jump. When a nice little cute puppy comes into the house, right? A little Rottweiler puppy. Oh, so cute. Little squishy guy. He comes into the house, and what do? Oh my God, look at that cute little puppy. Come here, baby. And we start, right? Come here, puppies. Come here. And we start to get them all excited. We pat our legs, the puppy jumps up. We go, oh my goodness, you are such a cute puppy. Oh, and we start hugging it and we're praising it. What are we doing? We're teaching the dog to jump on us, and then we're rewarding them. We're giving all the attention. Oh, what a good dog. And so it's cute when the puppy's only this big, and they're only about 12 pounds, but then as the puppy starts to get to 90 pounds, and instead of their paws hitting just below our knees, their paws start to hit us in the chest. They start knocking us over. It causes all kinds of problems. So usually our dogs are jumping because we've taught them to greet us that way. How many of you guys go home at night and your dog's there and he's all excited to see you and you get him all ramped up? Hey buddy, how you doing? Good dog? Yeah, come here. You start doing that type of thing. What you're doing is you're teaching your dog to greet you that way. Dogs are extremely social animals. They do not like being separated from us. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are always teaching the dogs to greet in a very calm manner. Okay? Teach them very calm. You want to come in the house? Hey buddy, how you doing? Okay, it's okay to wrestle with your dog. I love wrestling with my dogs. I love doing that, all that kind of thing. But not when I greet them, because then your greetings become a mess. Okay? So let's demonstrate. Let's show you how this is done.
Charlie! Charlie!
Good. See, now just firmly hold on. Now you want to let go. Off. Good. Now invite him back
Charlie!
up.
Charlie!
Oh, he's not jumping on you now? That's when you'd want to give him a treat. Okay? Okay, so that's how you deal with jumping. Now, that's not going to work for everybody. That technique's not going to work for everybody. It's going to work for a lot of dogs, but not every technique works for every single dog. So that's why I put together the Good Canine Manners course. At goodcaninemanners.com, I have a bunch of different techniques that you can use to stop your dog from jumping. And the last thing I want to say about this is that you have to understand that I use positive reinforcement to teach dogs, to train dogs. When I'm teaching them to do something, I'm constantly rewarding the dog. Lots of treats, lots of praise, toys, a lot of good stuff happens to them. Okay? Here's what you have to remember. I reward the dog for getting them to do something that I want them to do. Sit down, stay, stand, coming when called, all that kind of good stuff. When I want them to stop doing something, I will sometimes use a form of punishment, like I did there, by grabbing the dog's paws. Now, my punishment doesn't mean hurting the dog, just means making it unpleasant for the dog. Charlie, in that last clip that you saw where Rachel was holding on to his paws, and he was doing that little yelping. She wasn't crushing his paws. It's just that a lot of dogs are very sensitive about their paws being handled. And when you take the paws and they're saying, hey, I want those back, and you're saying, no, I'm not going to give them back, the dog will yelp a little bit. And then when you say off, and you do that a few times, you can see the results you'll get. So I do use punishment to stop the dog from doing something. Punishment does not have to be to hurt the dog or harm the dog, but I use positive reinforcement to teach the dog to do things that I want him to do. Good? Okay, now, and remember, all those techniques you can find at goodcaninemanners.com. Check it out. We're running special today, by the way. Okay, now, I've been getting some emails from people, and this ties in perfectly with what we've been talking about today, about begging. My dog begs constantly. He's always begging at the table, and it's making me crazy. So, here's the thing with begging, is that if you never really start feeding your dog from the table, your dog probably won't develop that habit. Okay? Some dogs will. Dogs with really good appetites, doesn't matter. If you never gave them a single morsel from the table, they still smell food. Hey, there's food up there. Can I have a piece, please? So, the thing that you have to understand about begging, though, is that you don't want to make it a habit. And by the way, when it comes to people food, I give it to my dogs. Leftover chicken, beef, fish, leftover vegetables, overripe fruit. I give this stuff to my dogs. It's good for them. But I don't give it from the table. I mix it in their food bowl. So if you're going to give your dogs people food, make sure you don't feed it from the table. Make sure you put it in a bowl and put it on the, with the rest of their food and feed it to them whenever you feed your dog, once, twice a day, whatever. But that's what you want to do. But the biggest thing, as I was talking about earlier, is the Uncle Freddy factor. Somebody comes over your house, they're at your dinner table, and they break off a little piece of their pizza crust and they give it to your dog. Okay? Now, any training that you've done to try to stop the dog from begging, that person has now just reinforced the behavior. And so now, whenever there's food on the table, the dog's going to think, whoa, look at this. I got some freebies here. Okay? So some things that you might want to think about is managing the behavior. Remember the method, manage, underline, train, teach. You might want to manage the behavior. You might want to teach your dog to do a downstay while you're eating. Okay? You might want to put your dog in a different room, or you may want to put him in the crate when you guys are having dinner. And also make sure that when people come over your house, if you don't want your dog to beg from the table, train your friends and family. You have to do this when it comes to dogs. A lot of times it's not the dog that needs to learn, it's the people that interact with your dog. Jumping, right? People come over your house, you've taught your dog to greet with all four paws on the ground. Somebody comes over your house and they can blow your training in one day. Okay, same thing with begging at the table. You've taught your dog to do a downstay, not to beg at the table. Somebody comes over and they sneak your dog a piece of chicken, barbecue pork, whatever, and now your dog is going to develop the behavior of begging. So, those are some things to think about this week. Don't forget, GoodCanineManners.com is sponsoring Train Your Dog TV this week. We're running a special on GoodCanineManners.com, and you can find out very useful techniques to stop your dog from barking, from begging, jumping, chewing, all kinds of problems that you may be experiencing with your dog. And there's an especially good technique on begging that will stop your dog from begging just like that. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Train Your Dog TV. Next week, crates, crate training. Big topic. I'm going to show you how to get your dog to love going in the crate on command. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching Train Your Dog TV. We'll see you next week.